So today we'll take a look at NetSkeme. So you know that NetSkeme is a browser-based software. You can just type in netskeme.com and you will land to the landing page where you have information about some features. If you want to try, you just click the free trial. If you already have an account, you click login and you will be able to sign in the software. When you first sign in, NetSkeme will ask you to select a template and do some basic configuration. It will always remember last document active. So a few minutes ago, I disconnected by just using the sign out. So when you disconnect, you lose the current working document. To start a new project, you click new. You can select paper size. Let me go for an A3. And now NetSkeme will load our working space. The grid is always enabled. You can see it. You can switch it off if you don't like it by pressing F4 or by using the bottom left command. I find the grid easy to make a good diagram, but sometimes distracting. So I will prefer not using it. Today I will make a small hydraulic manifold diagram. This one will be used for the manifold edge. So if you join to that webinar, you will see how we use that diagram and also the manifold design with MD tools for our collaboration tool. So I start by drawing an envelope line, which will represent my manifold. So it's just a rectangle and you can stretch it. And as you see, there is an item ID, which later you can change. If you don't like the item ID, you just type in whatever you want and the balloon will adapt accordingly. And you can move the item ID where you want. My manifold has some external ports to connect with the cylinders and actuators. If you need to insert external port symbol, you click on manifold port. Manifold port will load on the left our port sizes, so divided in port type and size. So I select now SA O-ring -8, and that is my A1 port. You can just drag and drop the symbol in the drawing or double click as you prefer. Double click is more precise because you see a preview and then you can leave the symbol in the drawing. So this is applicable both to external ports and to symbols. If you need to change a port name, you just double click on the text and you can change it. Or you can right click, edit, and then you will have the possibility, for instance, to change a port name, size, and also if needed, you will be able to plug a port. So if you click plug port, this will turn the symbol to be plugged. I don't need a plugged port, so let me unplug it and click OK. You can copy entities in the drawing, so you can select, you can simply do a Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V, copy and paste, or like AutoCAD, we can just do copy selection from to. When you place a port on an envelope line, the port will automatically rotate. So if now the port is not properly oriented, you can just drag it and it will automatically rotate. That's my B3 port. That's my A3. And this will be my B2. Usually I don't start from external port, I start from diagram. So let's start finding symbols. To insert symbols, we need to load the symbol library. By clicking symbol, we have the symbol library loaded on the left. All the library is arranged into different folders. Inside of each, you can find the symbols. So we need a relief valve, pressure control relief valve, direct operated, 1 to 2. So we can just double click and place the symbol in the drawing. I will have the tank line down and the P line on top, so let me flip this symbol, flip vertical. If you need to specify a setting, you must use the text. Unlike HydroCAD, where we have a lot of attributes, here the attribute is limited to a fixed number of attributes. So in this case, the setting will need a text, let's say 180 bar. But I may describe the model code by clicking edit. And for us, for instance, this is an RDDA LAN Sun Hydraulics, and that's a relief valve. And we click OK. Also the manifold, right click, edit, we can describe the manifold. Let's keep item ID 1, but later we'll see that it is possible to change the item ID automatically in the software. The model code is manifold 0023, the manufacturer is West Incorporated, and the description is hydraulic manifold. Now we start searching for components. So our diagram has 2 counterbalance valves. So on port A1 and B1 there will be a cylinder. So we'll take a cylinder symbol, double acting, and we place it in the drawing, and we connect it. And our cylinder will have 2 counterbalance valves. We can search directly for symbol if we know the model code. So for instance, if we type CBCH, that's a model code for Sun Hydraulics counterbalance valve. We take a symbol with variable setting, and we place the symbol. The symbol can be, of course, flipped in all directions, and we place the symbol directly. So although the grid is not visible, I am actually using the grid. Snap to grid is activated by this toggle on the bottom left, which you can switch it off by using F9 like AutoCAD. If you need to move items, you can use just the keyboard arrows, which is very handy. And actually, it is very easy to make a change in our diagram. This is a big difference compared to AutoCAD and to HydroCAD. Also, if you stretch the envelope line, this will make all the ports follow consequently. We can make a pressure connection line from A1 to port 1, and the connection line will always stay glued to the symbol. So you can move the symbol and quickly find a position. So let's say that our counterbalance valve has a pilot ratio RP of 4.1 to 4.5 to 1, and that's our pilot ratio. And then we also have a setting, let's say 280 bar. Our valve is, let's take a winner model code. So it's a CB-11A 33KL winner hydraulics and counterbalance valve. I copy also the settings, so then I can just do the copy selection and position here. I flip, and I can move also the text if you need. You can use the selection with a window like AutoCAD. While the item ID can be selected by selecting the symbol or the item ID directly. Let's do the connection. And I have some sandwich mounted valve, NG6. So let's search for Parker D1 VW 004 open center valve. I take the symbol stacked down, and my system has 3 of these valves. So let's edit and apply a model code, D1 VW004, and I am not now familiar with all the possible connectors and voltage. Manufacturer is Parker, and the description is direction control valve. I have 3 of these, so I Control C and paste. And one of these sandwich mounted valve has a pressure reducing valve. So let's search for the pressure reducing valve. If you don't know the model code, you just go back to the symbol search by close the search result. And we can go to the stackable valve. The flipped version are the symbol that you stack downwards. So we can go to NG6 and reducing. And here we have a lot of symbols. This one is good. Let's take one without the, let's take this one. So I'm reducing the P line. And here I have my symbol. Let's edit and apply a part number. So in this case, it is a ZDR6DP2 Bosch Rexroth pressure reducing valve. Now we can make some connection. Let's add some PNT ports. I take these 2 ports, copy, and bring here. Double click, that's my P port, and that is my tank port. I move this symbol on top. And of course, like I showed earlier, with a double click, you open the edit port information, and there you are able to change the port size. So let's take a flange, a safe flange, and let's take a 1-inch code 62. And the same we do for the tank port. So we take an SA flange and take, let's take 1x4 code 61. Let's start connecting. So we have our P line going from here. Let's connect directly to the last valve, and then we keep doing the connection. So the command stays active. You can just keep doing the connections that you need. You can just move the symbol with the arrow key, and the lines will follow. The port, the text you must select all together, or you can move later. I just make the tank line. So tank line from here up to here. There is also a manual connection mode. So if you switch off this toggle auto connect, then you will be able to make connection go where you want. So you click, 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 and make the connection where you want. Still, there is a algorithm that will simplify the connection. In this case, it's really not needed. You can, if you want, you can just take the midpoint, and this will simplify the connection logic. You can always add additional band just by selecting the line and selecting and moving the grip point. I like more the automatic connection mode in this case, so let's stay with it, and let us make a pressure line. There is always a logic in the connection line. So if we start making the connection from B to 2, the connection is made longest segment first and then short segment. So in this case, since I need the room for the pilot lines, then I start making the connection from 2 and end with B. This will come with a bit of usage, and you will get familiar with it. Now I create a pilot line from 3. So I make my cross pilot. If still you don't like how the connection is made, you can move the grip and change the position. I also make my connection from A2 to B. And always in this case, we just move the ports. I need my tank line. So the relief is going to tank. And I connect my A port and my B port. I need an orifice here. So let's go back to the library. If you want, you can pin the library so that it stays always available. We go to the flow control valve, orifice, and you can take the symbol for the orifice. Unlike HydroCAD, where you can put the symbol in a connection line, here you cannot. It will not automatically break. You can just drag the insertion point and reconnect and add the additional segment. By default, orifice symbol will come with 1 mm size. You can change it 1.3 mm. 1.3. There is a validation message. So basically you cannot have more than 5 characters. We can move the orifice down. And if we want to simplify a bit our connection, we can select an entity and this will change the position. We can stretch a line. And we can select several symbols. In this case, if we move the symbols up, the envelope line will not follow, but really you can just stretch it after. And same happen when we want to move the symbols to the left. The symbol will follow, and then we can stretch the envelope, and the ports will follow. We need a test point on P, so let's go back to the ports. Let's say that it's a BSP port 1x4, and we call the test point MP, and with a double click we place the symbol in the drawing, and we can connect with a pilot line. If you need, for instance, mini-mesh symbol, we can go to the hose and connectors and quick connect, and we can find a symbol. But we can also build custom symbols, and I'll show you in a minute. Let me rotate it to the left and position it here. All the port size and text can be moved anywhere in the drawing, and they can be connected to the drawing. Let's apply some attributes to our orifice. That's our Orifice M6 1.3 mm. Manufacturer is Vest Incorporated, and Orifice M6 1.3 millimeter. We can automatically reassign all item IDs by running this command, item ID. NetSkeme will start numbering from left to the right. So now our manifold is item 2 because there is a most left item, which is the mini-mesh. And we can make a part list by using this command, insert part list, that will create our part list and will group identical items. Let's move it a bit to the diagram. You can select and move all the diagram just using arrow keys. I see a small problem here. If you see the part list is not fitting properly, just select a row and extend the line. This will make it work fine. If your diagram is not fitting the drawing, you can always change the title block, select and switch to a different size. But I go back to A3 and let me frame it properly. All the title block attributes can be filled in just by double clicking and adding information. So the title is our webinar July 27th, and it's created by myself. If you need additional tables, you can add by using the table command, and this will allow you to create a custom table made with columns and rows. So let's start and adding our table. In the drawing, the table can be resized, and here you can type in whatever you want. So for instance, that's the port name. You can move inside the table by using the tab and type and size. So the port name A1, B1, A2, B2, A3, and B3 are type SAE ports, and number is, let me change keyboard, -8, SAE. Then we have MP, which is a BSP port G1x4. Unlike HydroCAD, where this is created automatically, here you all the information, only the part list is created automatically. And so on. If you need, you can just add additional rows by right-click, insert row below, and this will allow you to add additional rows. So P, SA flange 1, code 62, and so on. T, SA flange 1x4, code 61. Each entity can be moved always by selecting the insertion point or by moving using the arrow keys. When we need to share this drawing with a customer, we can print a PDF. So we can just from the drop down print a PDF. And now NetSkeme will ask us to save a PDF. And as you can see, the file name is by default the title of that we have specified in the title block. So let me put in the downloads and save. And we take a look at our PDF. So that's our PDF made. We can also save a DWG. If you notice, I never click the save command. And actually, if you lose the connection, sorry for doing this every time, but now I close by mistake the tab, the Chrome tab. If you sign in again, you will always have a warning saying that the session was closed without sign out. So if we click yes, then we can enter with the username, and NetSkeme will load the latest document. You can always download the Dwg file for the document that you have made. And in this case, NetSkeme is preparing the Dwg file and with that file name. Anytime you can open other Dwg files. So when you open and there is an active document, NetSkeme will ask you what you want to do with the current active document. I have just saved, so I don't need to save it again. So I don't save it, and you can open additional NetSkeme file, or it will all work also for HydroCAD files. So let me just load again this one. But it will work also for HydroCAD drawings. Like vice versa, you can open this document with HydroCAD and do changes without losing any information. If you need to build the custom symbols, you can enter in the My Symbol library. You have two possibilities. One is really building from scratch, so using the lines and arcs, and you can build everything. Usually a symbol is always very similar to something else. So you can find the building blocks. Those are all ISO 1219 building blocks that you can use to build symbols. It's always easier to load an existing symbol. For instance, in this case, I want to make a very small mini-mesh, a smaller mini-mesh symbol, test point symbol. So we just make it smaller. And also let me reduce this. Let's say this is my new test point symbol, and I put the item ID on top. My insertion point is this red cross. And now I can save my symbol. By clicking Save Symbol, NetSkeme will ask you to save a symbol. In this case, the symbol is saved locally, and it will be a PNG file with a DWG embedded. So you can save wherever you want. I have a Dropbox folder where I have my NetSkeme symbols. And let me create a new folder called test point. Test point, and that's my test point. And you can also build symbols starting from a custom symbol that you have made. So by using the My Symbols, and you can load symbols. Like in this case, I may have pumps. I have some symbol for Kawasaki pumps. So you can build the symbol. You can take existing symbols and start building something else. So I take intermediate element, and then I select my controller. I specify my insertion point, and then I save my symbol. Let's leave it here. Let's say pump. Now, when you have done all your symbols, you can exit from build mode. I don't need to save. And here I will be able to use those symbols. So for instance, I want to replace my test point, and I will insert this time from my building blocks library. So test point, I take my test point, which is now smaller, and I can rotate to the left and position it. And so on. I can also use my pump symbol, which can be connected to all the entities.